Do you know that about 60% of the users rely on release notes to know more about their products and the updates which are done regularly to it? So in this fast-paced world of technological upgradations, release notes is no more a formality. It is more like, it's a vital communication tool which helps you to bridge the gap between the users and the development team. So release notes helps you to get engaged with the customers, get feedback from it, and helps in the continuous development or improvement of the product, because the users are the ones who are going to, at the end of the day, going to use the product. So hello everyone, welcome to the Release Notes, the Expert Perspective video series. uh, we have started this series wherein we invite industry experts. We uncover multiple best practices related to release notes, and also helps you to get some insights so that you can develop release notes which are compelling and effective for the end users. I am Mithila. I am a digital marketing manager at Amoeboids Technologies. I, along with my colleague Sujeet Pathak, who is a senior product manager at Amoeboids, we are going to, today host this session for you, wherein we will share multiple insights and also will help you to guide through the entire process of release management. So let's dive in. So today I would like to welcome our guest, Valeriia Havrylenko from SaaSJet. She is a product marketing manager at SaaSJet. SaaSJet is an Atlassian marketplace partner, and I would like to welcome her today. She is carrying a total experience of 3+ years in marketing field, and we are very happy to have here today in our episode. Welcome, Valeria.
Thank you for having me here.
Great. So as we start, I would like to start with the question. So Valerie, we just wanted to understand what has been your experience. What is your journey? How did you ended up into product marketing field? And as we are talking about release notes today, just wanted to understand what are your thoughts and what are your inputs into release notes. What is the role you play when it comes to adding to the release notes of your products and services which you have at SaaSJet?
Yeah. What is the release notes for me now? Yeah, I can say that it's a mandatory document for a team, for a company. In our team, it's divided. We have release notes for dev team, we have release notes for QA team, and we have release notes for customers. And I'm preparing release notes for customers. It's one of way of our release notes is just a document with the releases, and also we have notifications in our product. So for us, it's also a way to communicate with our customers, to say to them like, hey, that's what we do for you. Like, you can try our new feature. You can give us a feedback of it. So for me also, it's a way to communicate.
All right.
So one interesting point that I got from your response is that you mentioned that you prepare release notes for different stakeholders, not just for
Yeah.
the customer. So there is a misconception like release notes are only be made for the external users or the customers, but that's not true. In fact, there are many organizations like you just mentioned who prepare their release note for even for the internal stakeholders, like their sales team is there or a QA team is there. So there are different versions of a release notes of a single release that can come out for which are addressed to different stakeholders involved in the overall product process. With that topic in mind, like you mentioned, you are involved in release notes with respect to your customers. So when you look at our particular release, let's say for example, you are managing your release in Jira, and in a particular release of your product, there might be a number of issues. Not all of those will be addressing a new feature or a bug fix, but there could be some other issues like there are some internal bugs or backend changes. So how do you determine from all those issues, like which are the ones which needs to be highlighted into a release note document, which is going to get shared with your customers for
Mhm.
that matter?
Yeah, as I've said before, I'm preparing um, release notes for our customers, and our dev team, they are preparing release notes for themselves. Usually, it helps newcomers to the team to understand what is the pace his team, how much task usually team do for the next release. For our QA team, it's a different. It's a different release notes. They use a calendar with the releases, so that's why they can identify when something happens with the new releases, when it's have a lot of bags there, so they can understand like, okay, last release was on Wednesday, so we can like roll up like our last release, and they have all of releases in a calendar, and also they have releases in a document. Also, they're preparing a document. Our dev team, they use release notes from Jira, which you said that like a lot of tasks that they made for the release. And for me, release notes is a different thing. We have release notes in a Jira. As I'm a marketer for add-on in a Jira marketplace. You have versions with release notes. We have release notes there, and I'm preparing release notes for that part of add-on, and also like a way of communication. So yeah, release notes are divided.
Okay. Talking about, since you are saying that your QA team is preparing the release notes, and you also dev team separately. So this another questions come to my mind is, when you create release notes, do you create it into single version, or do you create it into different versions targeted to different audiences? So
um, I can say that our audience is like just our customers. So we are preparing for customers, release notes for customers, release notes for devs, release notes for QAs, like this. We have these three different audience, but we not divided our customers in in our audience. Yeah, we have just one.
uh,
So, yeah,
so
Mithila, go ahead, sorry.
yes, so basically, when I'd say about versions, I mean, you do it in different ways, right? Different formats. Like, for example, you send an email, or maybe you send a PDF file, or if you send, a Word document, or it can be an HTML file. So, do you actually divide the, release notes into different formats at your organization?
No, just one. Yeah.
Okay, all right, I see.
So, as far as your customers are concerned, like what is the medium in which you deliver those release notes to them?
We use email for this. We use notification in add-on. We also use Useful. It's like add-on in our add-on that help us marketers and product owners to communicate with the customers, to gain some feedback from our customers, and release notes in a marketplace in that field that we can put some information about what we have done with our add-on. So there's 4 ways for release notes.
Okay. So, how does this process start for you? Like, because for a particular release, means we do see the changes on the date of release, but actually the work has already started long back when your development team actually starts doing those changes or your QA team then subsequently test those changes. So during this process of a particular release, what is your role? How do you integrate the release notes process into the entire product release
Mm-hmm,
process?
mm-hmm. Uh, we have meetings with our product owner, and usually we have done our release notes 1 week before release. So we are preparing them before, and usually our product owner can check it if everything is okay with this. And before release, also we usually we have a demo session to understand how it works. For big releases, I can ask our designers to help me to create a GIF or a screenshot of it to make it more understandable for customers what's going on with the product.
Okay, so it starts right almost around a week
Yeah.
before your actual release, and you first understand it from your tech guys, and then take help from your designers to come up with some visuals.
Yeah, usually it's one week before release. I can prepare everything. So, and then I'm just waiting for the release and for the feedback of our customers.
All right. So you also mentioned that you prepare release notes for your end customers, right? So the end customers may be technical or may not be technical, right? So how do you ensure that as you prepare the release notes, they are understood easily by technical and non-technical folks? So how do you ensure that?
I can ensure that of amount of clicks is how they if they want to try this new release, new functions, maybe it's a new button in our add-on, and also I can measure it with my with our support team. If everything is okay, they can also have a nice feedback about your feature. Is everything is if something is wrong or with release notes or with our new features, or our customer team also gain this feedback and give it to us. So by clicks and by support team.
I think there is some, clarity which needs to be done here. So, what I wanted to actually understand was, since the release notes are written, they are used by different stakeholders, right? Some may be
Mm-hmm.
technical, some may not be technical. So, like for example, you want to create a release notes for a non-technical person. That means there needs to be some information which needs to be easily understandable by that non-technical person, right? So I just wanted to understand, how do you ensure that what details needs to be given for the release notes which are targeted to non-technical folks, and what details needs to be given in the release notes for the technical folks? That was
Mm-hmm.
what I wanted to understand.
Usually we try to use simple words for this so everybody can understand what is going on.
All right.
Yeah. So even in fact, I can imagine one recent example in our case. In one of our app called Upgrades, we publish few REST APIs which our customers can use to integrate different functions of our app within their third-party applications. So that was one of the challenge that we faced, because APIs being a completely technical terms, but at the same time we wanted our customers to understand what is the significance of this feature. Maybe the ones who are reading our release notes would be HR managers who are might not be as technical as we expect, but at the same time they should be able to understand like what these APIs can do and how they can help them to integrate our app with their usual third party HR management software. So we had to come up with, like you mentioned, some easy to understand information, some infographics to just explain them that these are the APIs which can help you to integrate. Of course, you will need to take help from some of the technical guys at your end to use this feature completely. But of course, at least they would understand the use case, how they can use that particular
Mm-hmm.
feature. That is one. I think Mithila was the question was about that particular aspect of release notes where how to explain, because we being in a tech business, more than often there are some changes which are purely technical in nature, which are not understandable by some non-tech guys who are using your application. So it's sometimes a challenging task for any technical writer or anyone who is writing release notes to explain technical things to non-tech folks. Yeah. So with that, I think we can move to the next question. So we do this process of release notes after every release. So some organizations have every 15 days release, or some have quarterly releases. So every quarter you are doing releases, you're publishing release notes, and you are, like you mentioned, you have integrated some your release notes within your application itself, or you also deliver them over an email. But we expect that we have put in so many efforts, we have added some visuals, taken help from designers, and we expect that our intended customers or anyone for whom that release notes is intended for, they're going to read it. And that's the basic intention that we have. But how do you know, like, this document is actually being consumed and your users are actually happy with it, or they understand what you are trying to convey through that document? How do you measure this?
Mm-hmm. As I've said before, best measure is help from our support team that they are communicating with our users directly.
Mhm.
So anything wrong with the documentation or with the release notes, or our user are happy and wants to share this, um, our support team knows that, and we also have meetings with our support team to understand, is everything okay, like users happy, what are they waiting for. um, so yeah, we measure it with our support team help.
All right.
User support is one of the channel for you to gauge what is the overall feel, how they are
Yeah,
feeling about the changes.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a valid point. In fact, in our case as well, we generally get instant feedback when we publish release notes, and someone who is genuinely interested into a particular feature that is included in that release, they come up with the feedback, either positive or sometimes negative. But of course, we do get feelers like instantly from support team, like what is the way in which this release is being received among the customers. There are also other ways, like in our case, we have also integrated one chat application within our app. So we also have a widget which pops up within the app whenever a new release is there, and it just shows some high level highlights of the new release that we have. So that's another way. So we come to like how many have clicked on that particular pop-up and they have opened up the widget to see release notes. So that also gives us a measure. If you have a release page, a dedicated page on your website, and you can also have a tracking through Google Analytics or some other tools, like how many people are actually visiting that particular page. So there are different ways you can measure this success. But yeah, your point is quite valid. Like that's a first-hand experience that we actually get a human feedback immediately through your support team.
So we're talking about release notes, so we know that release notes, creating it, crafting it, and publishing it is a tedious task at the end of the day, because you have a number of people who are involved in it, and you need to give only the updates which are required by the end user and which will be valuable to them. So just wanted to understand, is there any tool you use in order to actually automate the entire release notes generation process?
We use emails for this, or like use it connected to this. Also, we use custom-made notification system in our add-on, And third one is useful. It's a program in our DOM that helps us to send pop-ups in a DOM.
Okay.
So
So
there's 3 ways, 3 tools. Yeah.
all right. So via add-ons, you get notifications whenever any releases are done and things like that.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. So at Dummy Points, we have an app called Automated Release and Reports app, which helps you to, generate release notes, publish it, and also distribute it at various channels. So recently we have upgraded it, and it was previously just the release notes, but we have an add-on. We are also helping the users to generate reports out of it. So that is helping multiple customers to, to expedite the entire process and the streamline entire release management process for them. So that is something which we do.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about that pop-up thing. Is it a third-party add-on or it's your own add-on that you are using? I didn't completely understand.
Um, its name, it's called Useful. It's a program that you can integrate in your system, not only into Jira, but also in some sites. We also have add-ons not only in Jira, we have add-ons on Monday.com, on Azure DevOps. So this useful thing, it's a useful tool. It's also integrated to Azure, to Monday.com, to Jira, and it's work for us. Yeah, it's not
So
only
it's
for pop-ups; it's also for product tours, to have to gain some feedbacks from our customers. Yeah, to communicate with them.
it's a in-app communication tool which can serve
Yeah,
to your
yeah,
release
with
notes, announcements, or you can also capture feedbacks, instant feedback from your users.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice to know. In fact, that's a really useful tool to have. In fact, have a direct communication with your customers within your application. It always helps. So I know one question that was in my mind about when you know write release notes for a particular feature. So let's say you have a new feature in within your application and you want to write about it. You also have some visuals to support what you're writing there. So you know uh, there are a number of ways in which you can explain that particular feature to your users. So how do you determine like what sort of information that needs to be included, or how much should be the length of your textual part of your release notes, and how do you manage that, or how do you decide on
Mhm.
that?
Usually, first thing that we write down in our release notes, it's features that our customers are waiting for most, um, like valuable feature, and then like everything else, like from the most valuable one to the most uncivil. Yeah, like this. And with simple words, we try to communicate as simple as we can. So yeah, like this.
Okay, so yeah, my view on this particular question was like on a particular feature. If you ask me, I'm a product manager, so I've been involved into that particular feature right from its inception, like from ideation phase to actually it being delivered. So if anyone asks me to write about it, I can actually go on writing about it entire blog post. But of course, if I include a complete blog post into my release notes, then no one going to read it because people are generally lazy. They don't read too much. So that's a tricky question always with me when I write release notes, because I'm excited enough to write too much about it, but I at the same time know that my audience is not going to read everything. So I have to limit myself to few lines. Maybe generally my major is about 5 to 10 lines max for any feature, supported by a visual, a screenshot, or a GIF, or a video tool, or something like that. And then there should be a link within itself to where which can navigate user to a detailed information about that particular feature, where you can have a blog post or you can have your documentation page where a detailed step-by-step guide is provided. But of course, as far as release notes is concerned, it's not something, means I have seen a few people making this mistake, like they treat release notes as a help document. It's not really a help document, it's an overview document which gives you an idea about changes, new features, enhancements, or bug fixes. And it should also include some links where you can go and see the detailed step by step. Let's say you read the release notes, it should be enough to excite your reader about trying out that particular feature. And if at all they have something in their mind, some questions in their mind, whether how do I use it or how do I enable this particular feature, then there should be a link or to do your documentation where they can actually see the step-by-step guide and see how to use that particular feature. So that's how we generally try to work that out, because you can't include everything into that particular document. So
Yeah, we have the same stuff as you said. Like we have a documentation in a Confluence that can describe everything that you can you can do with this new feature, how it works, maybe some formulas and so on. And for users, we usually write just one or two sentences about this feature and picture, some screenshot or a GIF to easy understand how it works. Yeah.
and I think I have one last question from my side. Like, do you also maintain release notes in different languages, or you also only stick to one particular language, let's say English or something?
For us, it's only English. Yeah.
All right, Mithila, do you have any questions?
I think we've got a gist of it. Just one last question. So, since you are into product marketing, so just wanted to understand whenever you are writing release notes, what are the inputs do you give from a customer point of view when you are writing the release notes?
Yeah. Can you come again, please?
Since you are into product marketing, right? So just wanted, since you said you are writing release note, just wanted to understand what is the input which you give from the customer point of view when you are writing the release notes.
When I'm writing the release notes, I try to deliver our customer, our clients, what is jobs to be done of this feature. Yeah, just what this feature can be, can maybe simplify his workflow, simplify his analysis. Maybe this feature can gain more ideas how to improve workflow, how to improve pace of the team. So I'm trying to write the importance of this feature and how it can help our clients to be a better version of themselves.
All right, all right. So basically, you keep the customer in your shoes and then
Yeah.
write it from their thought process. Interesting. Great.
All right, I think we can wrap this up. It was great, insightful discussion, Valeria, with you. Means if I had to summarize, like there are 3-4 pointers that comes to my mind immediately. Like, first thing that we discussed, that release notes can be in multiple formats to multiple stakeholders. So it's not just only for the customers or end users, but can be also be prepared for your internal stakeholders, and it can be in different formats for different stakeholders. And one important thing that I also understood from your point of view is that delivery of release notes at right place for right stakeholder is important. Like you mentioned, you have in-app communication with your user, which is the best possible medium for you communication, because your users are already there. They are using the app, and within that application, you are delivering them more information. You're getting instant feedback from them side. Another thing, I think one important point that you made, that your interactions with your support team, which is major source of instant feedback that you can get. So it really helps you to be closer to your audience, and understand what they are saying, what are their feelings, and it helps you to course correct in the future releases based on the instant feedback that you're getting. So yeah, with that note, I think we can stop here for this session. Valeria, thank you so much. It was
Thank
nice and
you.
really insightful discussion with you. I hope you enjoyed as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed. Thank you for having me.
Great. And thank you, Mithila. In fact, if I have to tell you, Mithila, it's first time for her to join this podcast series. So she's hosting this session for the first time. So great job, Mithila. Thank you so much for joining me today. And to our audience, thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned for more such insightful videos. Do subscribe to our LinkedIn page and our YouTube channel, and do also check out SaaSJet's LinkedIn page as well. They are also making some wonderful apps in the Atlassian marketplace, and of course some other marketplaces that Valeria mentioned. All right, thank you everyone. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.